Hello and welcome everybody to the first episode of the Getting Started with Private Label podcast. This podcast is all about starting out selling a private label product. That is, how to find and validate private label product ideas. If you have been selling a private label product already and have been successfully doing that, whatever success means to you, then this may not be a podcast for you. But if you haven't sold a private label product yet, or have tried and you haven't been successful yet, then this is the podcast for you. My plan for the Getting Started with Private Label podcast is to be a weekly podcast, and I want it to feel like an online workshop. So you show up and you walk away with tangible takeaways that you can apply and take action right away. And I want these podcasts to be short, something like 5 to 10 minutes max, so you don't get overwhelmed and actually can do something small after every podcast. But before we get too far down the path, let me give you a little background of who I am. My name is Rob Kryn, and I have been selling on Amazon since 2014. I started out doing retail arbitrage, RA, and online arbitrage, OA, to learn how to sell on Amazon like so many of you out there. However, after doing RA and OA for a year, I realized that the arbitrage business model wasn't a good fit for me because I didn't like always being on the hunt for new products and new deals. After doing some research on other business models selling on Amazon, I decided that the private label business model seemed to be a better fit. And in order to speed up the process of implementing the private label business model, I signed up for a coaching program. From the coaching program, I learned not only how to find and validate ideas for private label products, but how to create optimized listings that both cater to Amazon's algorithm and how to design a listing to cater to shoppers to get them to buy, along with how to set up PPC campaigns to launch a private label product, and so much more. I went full time using the private label business model in 2017. I have not only continued with the private label business model myself, but I have worked with many other businesses and individuals as a coach, consultant, and partner to help them in their own private label journeys. So, why did I create this podcast? What I have found is that many RA and OA or wholesale sellers have been doing very well for years, but feel like the process of continuously searching for new products is just too time consuming. They're looking for other opportunities, something that doesn't have them constantly being on the hunt. And one of those opportunities is the private label business model. But unfortunately, they have heard horror stories about failures with the private label business model, and I wanted to be able to provide you with the right way to do things using the private label business model so those horror stories don't become a reality for you. This podcast will explore how to get started in private label and provide essential tips for getting started. When you subscribe to the Getting Started with Private Label podcast, I promise you I will provide not only the best ways to find and validate private label product ideas, but will continuously keep you updated on trends and new processes so that you have the most updated information. Thank you so much for joining me today in the Getting Started with Private Label podcast. I can't wait to connect up again next week as we go through another episode where we will teach you tangible takeaways that you can apply and take action immediately after listening. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will connect really soon.